Collective Unfiltered. We hope that everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Today's show is gonna be very special. Y'all gonna talk to us. Catfish himself is gonna do the interview, and y'all just gonna see what's happened to us in 2020 and what we got and what we're looking forward to in 2021. Boog, say what up to the people.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Happy New Year, 2021 or 21. I don't know. 2020 kind of rolled off your tongue. 2021 is a little much, but yeah, man, I'm happy to be back in the building, back on the grind. You know, big top of the new year. Although we grind all year, so it ain't like the new year or something.
Right.
Just crazy.
Facts.
But other than that, all good. I'm excited. We got a lot of stuff to share with the people. So I'm excited.
Whoop whoop. Let's get it. Bo, you want to thank our sponsors real quick before we hop on?
Absolutely. Shout out to Orange Mountain Designs, Terry Holder out there in Alcoa. They're having a big sale. She's getting rid of some of the accessories, license plates, socks, things of that nature. So definitely go check them out. For those of you that have always wanted a Tennessee Lady Vol license plate, get it while supplies last. Shout out to Hound Dogs of Knoxville, Tennessee Tap House, and our guy Nelson down in Miami with Just Pass It Tutoring.
Absolutely. And we also, of course, we appreciate all of our listeners and followers and fans. We love y'all. Bobby let us know today we are entering 2021 the right way. We're on Anchor, Spotify, and all of your podcasting platforms. Hopefully soon to be iTunes as well. We're waiting on that process, but hey, now y'all can hear us anywhere and everywhere, you know, whether it's just the audio or if y'all want to catch us, you know, on the live recordings or live. We would love to have you live. You know what I mean?
Spotify, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Google Podcasts, Breaker, and Anchor right now. And the link is in the description in both YouTube and Facebook. Check it out. And iTunes will be approved. It takes a little while for the approval process and mainly the cover art and everything. And it'll be approved. And not only the Collective Unfiltered, but Bucking 2MC. And all the other shows on Volunteer Roadshow are going down the same path.
That is what's up. So now there's no excuse for y'all not to hear our voice. If you can't make it and see us live on Facebook, pull it up. We're on everything. So that's definitely big blessings. Seeing as how we're coming up on our 1 year of officially being on the air, Lex. What?
Facts. And you know what? That's the perfect entry to what our show is about today. I'm gonna let Catfish take it over and do what you do, man, because for once we get to be the guest. So let's do it.
Well, you asked me to interview and kind of talk about how it got started, how it all started. And we both have kind of the same beginnings. Most everybody knows. I started out as a truck driver with a camera phone and a YouTube channel with a big, humongous vision. And I knew you had to surround yourself with the right people. And it seemed like every step of the way when I got Billy, not long after that, man, that opened up a lot of doors. And that, you know, getting all these VFLs on the show, and it put all those fantasies in reach. And then I'm sitting there watching, I think it's on YouTube. I see this Collective Unfiltered. And I said, man, that's Alexis Hornbuckle. And I said, man, she's talented. And Jay, she's talented. Man, they're great. And I'm having lunch with a good friend of mine who, anybody that knows D-Lo knows that, man, he's a ball of energy. He's got great ideas. He's a visionary like me. And we've hit it off from the very beginning. And I said, D-Lo, there's these VFLs on YouTube. I said, because I talked to D-Lo about my vision, and he was one of the first. Hey, Billy, he was one of the first that didn't think I was crazy with my ideas and visions. His eyes got big, and we talk a lot. And great friend, great man, great human being, great advocate of of all he's got great nonprofits that he really works for. And he said, I know Lex. I said, well, you need to get in touch with her right now. And he said, I got it handled, boss. And that was kind of the history of it. I saw y'all before, and you remember D-Lo reached out to you. Remember that?
I do. Yep. I remember. It's crazy. And that his response sounded just like D-Lo when you said it. I remember us just going back and forth, and I believe it was Bug, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was at the Lake House last year when we were talking, when he brought it up.
Yeah.
No, it was before that.
No,
it was around that time. It was around that time.
Yeah, it was.
He told me I needed to reach out to Bobby. He talked to Boog and I, and we were like, oh yeah, definitely, hell yeah. What's the number? How do we let's go back and forth and see if we can make this work for everybody. So that's pretty dope. Cause Boog, no, how do we start?
Yeah, how did you start? I don't know that I've ever heard the full story. How did it start? Y'all sitting around drinking wine and said, let's start a podcast, or how did it start?
Definitely wasn't wine.
Definitely wasn't wine.
Really, the idea started with us thinking that we should write a book. This was in college. This was in probably like 2000. I'd probably say 2006.
Yeah.
I was probably going to my sophomore year. She was junior, and we had gotten really tight. And we actually, we started living together. That's when shit got real. So, and we just always like, because our stories, like, they have similarities, but then they have, a lot of differences too. And so but we were so tight, like everywhere we were at, like Lex, like Jay wasn't too far behind, or vice versa. Lex wasn't too far behind her. She about to pull up. So it's just like we was always just like two peas in a pod. And so we was just like, yo, we need to write a book about this. And we used to joke about it and clown about it. And then Lex graduated, went pro, went to the league. Of course, we still rock with each other. I would go see her. She'd come see me. And then when did we really start talking about it again? Probably around the time he was retiring, maybe?
Yeah, probably towards the end of, if not the end of my last season and AAU, during that AAU season. So before pre-COVID is when we started to talk about it. Because I like Book said, we were like, we're going to write a book. We're like, nah, we need our own show. And and we were like, sometimes we do a little too much. We definitely don't want our own show yet. So it just translated into how can we, get our stories out and our versions and our truth, and what would it be built upon? How can we almost be all inclusive? And we sat down, and this was via FaceTime because Boog's in Atlanta and I'm in North Carolina, and Sandra was listening in to every call, and we started going. Sandra actually drew our logo. Boog, show them the logo.
It's up on the page. It's the top right corner.
Oh yeah, that's right. The collective Unfiltered, our 4 pillars: athletes, business, finance, and equality. Yeah.
And we I just lost my train of thought.
Old lady.
Huh?
Who would you say, because you're really telling the story of Billy Ratliff and myself. We're like two peas in a pod, but we both have our strengths and weaknesses. It seems like my strengths and his weaknesses and vice versa mesh so well. How does your strengths and weaknesses, what are they and how do they match up? Do y'all have that kind of vibe going on, or do y'all both?
I'd probably
similar?
say when it comes to like the actual, like the podcast, mine would be like social media. Like,
yeah, I can see that.
Kind of that creative sphere. And Lex is like, I'd probably say like, well, her contact book is endless, right? I mean, I'd be like, oh, can you get up so? Oh, yeah, I forgot about it. And I'm like, oh my God. But then we're both people. We like talking to people. I don't know how that sounded.
No, I know what you're saying because it's like a people person.
Yeah, we people.
See, me and Jay are a lot alike, and Alexis and Billy are a lot alike. Billy got all the contacts, you know, and I'm kind of the social media person and doing that kind of thing. So that's probably why, Jay, that's probably why you're my favorite.
I knew you were about to say that, Bobby. I knew you were about to go there.
And for me, I mean, and honestly, like,
y'all got to turn this heater off.
And honestly, too, like, think of, I mean, in my drafts professionally, there were 70 that got drafted.
Wow.
70 people, right? And of course, like, me and like one other my team, like I was the one that kind of played, you know, or stayed in it and kind of stuck with it. Some people went overseas, but you don't really have that many soccer players that go. So, you know, of course, I know a ton of people from just like playing in college and playing against people. And, you know, I was on teams with, you know, Megan Rapinoe and all them, but like, it's such it's a small, I think it's just a smaller community. So, you know, I was like, oh, my league folded. So I was like, all right, well. So, but yeah, Lex definitely, I mean, between playing overseas for 11 years, playing in the league, winning 2 titles, like, you know,
Jay hit that right on the head.
You know, so it's just, but yeah, I would say, but we do counter off each other.
Oh, for sure. Boog's way more organized than I am, number one. But the thing is, when it's go time, it's crazy because we are exactly the same when it comes to being a go time, which is the Lady Vol mentality, but just a true competitor mentality. Like, we both want to win and we will do whatever work it is to win. And since college, we've been doing a lot of that work together. So the chemistry, like of being teammates, you could say, in the real world, in the entrepreneurial world, it just kind of transferred over from college sports workouts to business.
Yeah.
What would you say? Like, I remember in the early stages of Volunteer Roadshow, I would be either driving all night and have these great ideas. And some of them were really good ideas and some of them were really stupid ideas. But I tried them anyway. What was that? But there always seemed to hit an obstacle. And that first obstacle really messed me up because I'm like, man, what in the world am I thinking with my vision? I'm just a truck driver. Why? What am I doing thinking about doing all that we've done? And was there any sort of obstacles that you hit or had any great ideas you tried and they didn't work or they did work? What was the creative process of how you got to where you are right now?
If I recollect correctly, listen, our first sit down drive through of the podcast was a complete disaster.
Oh my gosh, Bobby.
It took us about 6 hours to do nothing. At the end, I mean, the way that you have to look at it overall, because we didn't accomplish what we were trying to accomplish, was to do nothing. So we started out like, we're going to record these, and then we were
together at the time. We spent what? I was down there for like 8 days.
Yeah, like a little over a week.
So we're like, oh, we gonna film together. And Bobby, what's crazy is my GoPro. We just sat it up on the counter, and the GoPro just recorded until it died. So we have like behind the scenes of us being like
starting off.
Oh my God. Like the iPad just stopped working. Just stopped. We didn't have any footage. We were sitting here, we were like, oh my God. And then we had our phone set up. We had like 4 devices going because we was like, we don't know, but we want to have backups. My storage filled up. Lex's storage filled up. The iPad just stopped.
Yep.
And the GoPro died. Man, it was like, because we were like, oh, this is going to be dope. We had a banner. We have a banner printed. Like, it was behind us. We was like, oh, this is going to be real professional. We had our mics and stuff. I ain't had the professional mic that Lex had. We both had this one.
Yeah,
Just so y'all know where she started with the mic. Okay, I'm still here.
Started from the bottom. Now we here.
But yeah, I would say honestly, off the rip, for us, it was like, oh shit, what are we doing?
Yeah,
that brings back memories.
Maybe this isn't what we're meant to do.
That brings back memories because we had a humongous challenge because I drove a truck for a year after Billy joined. And I would have to have good internet. And we were doing a lot of live shows. And, man, that was hard. And our audio was our biggest obstacle in making a good product. Because I believe if you had a good product and it was visually appealing and you had a good technology, man, I had to learn everything on the fly. It was hard. But we finally, it seemed like we'd pick up a piece of technology here and there, and it slowly get better. They started, man, I don't even like watching some of the first ones. They're horrible. But they kept getting better and better and better. And I think what made it better is the closeness that me and Billy and I have. The closer we got, the better we got. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that once it's like a basketball team or a sports team having that chemistry. And I remember once I knew I could make this happen, I remember I just have a memory, and this is no lie, and it was about Pat. She was accepting an award for the Arthur Ashe Award, and I can hear it. I hear her voice so many times saying, "You win in life with people." Mm-hmm. I remember her saying that when she accepted the award. And that's what Volunteer Roadshow, that's been our mantra. Have the right people. If you surround yourself with the right people, good things will eventually happen. You know, we got Billy and just all the different people that would just been involved in the platform. You and Alexis and Maria. It just seems like we're slowly building. It's not a get-rich-quit scheme. It's a lot of hard work.
It is.
A lot of hard work that people don't even realize. You know, this show will be on for an hour, but you know, I started an hour before the show started, making sure everything was right, getting the titles, doing all the description. It's not just an hour show.
No.
And the recorded ones are even harder. Like today, I gotta pat myself on the back. We did our first Bobby versus Billy show, and we uploaded it. I set Billy up. I wanted the first one to be something I could win, so I was going to be darts. So he was over there doing the packages on some of our stuff we sell online. And I said, I'm going to get him going. So I throw a couple darts, and he looked up at me. And so anyway, it's on Volunteer Roadshow right now. You can go see who won that one. But anyway.
Yeah, y'all go check that out. That's what's up. But also just kind of like what you said, like in terms of you and Billy having that relationship, like for us, obviously we've been best friends for 15 years.
16?
Yeah. 16.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, you know, at the end of the day, like we know each other's stories, we know what each other's been through. So it's just like, you know, it's like we got each other's back. Like we're not going to let the other one, you know, fall without, you know what I mean? So it's just like we have that bond. This isn't just a show, you know, and it's not, and like you said, it's not a get rich quick scheme. We don't make a ton of money from this, but we enjoy it. And you know, at the end of the day, when we first started, Josh was like, yo, just be consistent.
Yeah.
And so
that's the main thing.
Our first producer.
Shout out to Josh Snyder.
Josh, our guy. But he was like, yo, just be consistent. Just set something up and stick with it. And really, we started this a month before COVID. And then it was like, So, but really, COVID has been a blessing for the show. For real.
It really has. It's presented a lot of obstacles that we didn't have before COVID.
Right.
But I always saw the silver lining in this whole COVID thing. Yeah, people aren't spending money right now on advertising. That's the downside. So that's why we started going towards merchandising and things like that. But there's a lot of you just got to find your niche. When somebody throws something at you, you've just got to find a way to make it, and the money will come. But if you do it because you love it, the people they're attracted to that. There's an old business saying: people like to do business where people where business is being done, basically. And it's just, you can tell when somebody likes something and they enjoy it, and that'll come out in your product.
Absolutely.
And what we're doing right now is product that people consume. What we're doing, it's a consumer based thing, and I wanted to have a little bit of everything for everybody. And it's no lie, I really want to have, it's a mission of mine to have the best Lady Vols coverage, sports coverage, not just basketball, but Lady Vols coverage in the state of Tennessee.
Well, soccer's got the spring season.
I'm about to say, you need to have Boog do a show for soccer.
We need to. Yeah.
Yeah, that way, I mean,
we can call it the flop. You know how soccer players flop. You know, like
flop.
KD.
That is European.
Oh.
See,
really?
Bobby, you was my favorite. Now look, you done called it. I
just thought it had a good little ring to it.
Sure,
we got some comments over here.
Cristiano Ronaldo's and such, even though he's one of my favorite players. But yeah, over there, I mean, I come up with something creative.
Yeah, we need to do something. We just got to try it. Don't just think about it. You got to have some vision. But absolutely. If you just dream, nothing's going to happen. I don't care. I could dream I'm going to be a doctor, and if I just stay in bed dreaming, you ain't going to do nothing. You got to spend more time working. But we got Brianna Robinson. You know her. So what is a message that you want young girls to know today who are either in sports or professional careers? I guess that's both of you, I guess.
Yeah. A message that I would want young girls to know today basically is hard work is necessary. This day and age, a lot of kids don't want to work hard. They don't even enjoy working hard. It's called hard work for a reason, but that doesn't mean that it can't be enjoyed. Like, you should want to put yourself to the ringer in practices and trainings and workouts so that the games are easier. And I think a lot of young girls aren't understanding that because they don't naturally. We don't naturally have that, like, that animal instinct that men have, all that testosterone. So it's hard sometimes for teaching young girls to get that hunger and get that, what we call that dog in them. Like, and if it's cool to have the dog in you, you could be a lady out there in the classroom, you could be a girly girl, but on the court, we need to find ways for these young girls to lock into their competitive mindset and natural, what's the word I'm looking for? Natural instinct to fight or flight. And it's way too much flight going on. So you definitely got to stay and fight. And to professional athletes, obviously you're doing the work, you're at the top level, but make sure you're doing the work to keep you there. And don't be satisfied. Like, you need to continue to work on being the greatest version of you, whether that's for your team or whether you're a team leader, role player, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. But that would be my advice. What about you, Book?
I will take mine. I agree with everything you said. But in addition to that, I would take mine one step before the girls that want to play in sports in college, or even if they want to even just play now and or professionally, is your coaches. Like, the coaches, like, at this age, like, I stepped away from college coaching because I realized that the kids that we were recruiting weren't being pushed. They weren't being taught. They didn't understand what having a mentality was, right? And so, like, obviously you had Diddy, you know, you had teammates like Renee. So it's like, it was automatic in practice. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like, and same for me. Like, I had my teammates, I mean, almost all of my team went Division I. And so, and my coach was a college coach at the time too. But for the coaches at the youth level, like, stop just working for a check. There's a lot of money in youth sports, of course. But stop just going out there working for a check. I know coaches that go out and they do a little warm up and they scrimmage the whole practice, every practice.
Yeah, happens a lot.
Or they do the same drills over and over and over. There's no problem with repetition, but are you making it hard? Are you progressing? Are they understanding why they're doing something? So then on with that, for the athletes, if you go to practice and you know it's gonna be easy, and you're like, oh, heck yeah, it's Tuesday. Oh, I know, coach, we got a easy session today. How are you gonna get any better? So you have to take responsibility for your own game, no matter what sport it is, or even if it's not in sports, even if you're a graphic designer, a rapper, a singer, whatever. If you're doing something and it's easy, then it's going to be very difficult to become the best. And it's going to be very difficult to step into college at any level, NAIA, Division I, Division II, Division III, JUCO. Like, it's going to be very tough. I have players right now that were freshmen and they were like, oh my gosh, Jay, you were so right. Like I caught my mom crying for the first 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like it's hard, but the reward is all worth it. You know what I mean? I mean, you and I, we both have championships at different levels, and the journey, and you know, of course, the journey. You know, you talk more about the journey to that championship than you really do the actual championship.
Right.
Obviously, for you, we can always talk about that tip, but you know what I mean? Like, for me, like, roller coaster of a senior season, but ended up being the first team in SEC history, the lowest seed in SEC history to win the tournament. And simply because you know what I mean? And it's just like, my best game was a semifinal. Like, I lost my mind. But so it's just like, you know, that process. So for all the young girls that want to do this is my long window. I'm sorry, y'all. I get passionate about it, y'all. I'm passionate. But yeah, man, don't let yourself settle. You know what I mean? Like, if you know you're good, don't wait for the easy practices. Or if you need to change, if you like, Mom, Dad, look, I need to go over here. They working, you know? Just because your friends are here, if they're really your friends, they'll still be there. But in order to achieve your goals and your dreams, I need to go over here and grind. So,
what would you say, like, risk? I remember, you know, I had a full-time job and it was basically to fund volunteer roadshow because I believed in it. It was a risk. But I remember I said, we'll never go to the next level unless I could devote 100% of my time to this. We'll always just be barely getting it, making it. And it was a risk to quit my job, a good job, and to do this 100% without any income, without anything. Sometimes you just got to take a risk and you just got to jump. But that's when you really got to put up or shut up. But how would you say, like, risk and reward? The bigger the risk, sometimes the bigger the reward. Sometimes it's the bigger failure too. But failure has always been something I liked. I wouldn't say liked. It's not a failure if you don't learn.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But if everything that doesn't work, if you learn something, I don't think it is a failure, really. And that's just so cliche. But what about risk in you know, y'all are both entrepreneurs. What kind of risks have y'all taken and the mindset about it? And you can relate that to sports.
Amiga?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think your story of coming into entrepreneurship is a huge ass risk. So definitely started off. Oh, but shit, maybe I should go because I can't really follow that. Nah, you go. You go.
You go.
All right, I'm gonna go. Because that story's gonna trump mine. But risk for me, as far as, you know, the basketball training, the podcasting, starting or going into coaching for travel ball and AAU, number one, it was scary. I had to take the risk and say, I'm not going to just play for a paycheck. My mind isn't in the sport as an athlete, as the performer. Now my passion is, you know, going to help others. Okay. So the risk I had to take, similar to you, Bobby, was I had to basically say, I'm not going to go overseas for 4 or 5, 6 months, 7 months, and I make X amount of dollars. And here, I don't know if I'm going to make a penny. But I believe in me. I believe in my own brand. And I believe that, you know, I found my purpose. And before I actually took that risk, I went through a process of, you know, just connecting to my purpose, figuring it out, asking myself questions, trying different things, failing a lot. You know what I mean? Getting discouraged, coming back up, having better ideas or better ways to do the same idea. And it was scary because I don't live by myself. I live with my girlfriend, as does Bug. So, you know, it's still like my half of rent or my half of this or paying for this or wanting to take her somewhere or wanting to do stuff for myself, and realizing all that has to be sacrificed. You know, not the rent. You gotta pay your bills, y'all. You gotta pay your bills. I'm talking about you know, the extra stuff. You know, you may not need to go out to eat, or you may not need to buy a 6-pack of beer or a bottle for the weekend. You may want to take that time you were going to use to hang out and put it towards your craft. Go through practice runs. I mean, Boog and I started to, hey, let's record. Let's go through this a couple times before we get to the real one, right? We learned. Then we're like, hey, let's go live, because we both love to kind of bounce. Our energy is crazy. And we want people to really feel our energy and see it, not just watch it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was scary, because now it's like, all right.
If you lean too far.